Artificial personality exchange. Before I knew it, I was kneeling atop the snow. This was Sphere. I was at the wall that surrounded Sphere. Looks like I jumped again. I could see Itsumi's back going further away from the distance. She was walking towards the building. What was Satoru doing out here with Itsumi? Cold. I want to return to my room quickly. I stood up and returned to catch up to Itsumi. Itsumi-san, please wait! If you're going back, then let's return together. Itsumi suddenly stopped walking and turned around. My heart stopped. There was nothing to be called an expression on her face. She looked at me with eyes that appeared as if they were staring at a rock that had rolled onto the side of the road. Never seen Itsumi like this before. Just what did Satoru do? What? Are you still going to get in the way? Oh, okay, they're talking about this again, some kind of plan that she was mentioning. Get in the way? What is she talking about? If that's how you're going to be, I have a few ideas of my own. I wasn't planning on giving you any trouble, but... Her voice had a sinister resonance, as if resounding from the bottom of hell itself. What do you mean, get in the way? Please, wait a minute, I don't know what... Did something happen with Satoru? Like a fight, or... Itsumi narrowed her eyes and eyed down. That turn, Fuyukawa-san? Huh? Yes, that's right. I see, is that so? Itsumi's expression softened. I was a little bit relieved, and at the same time doubts crossed my mind once again. Did something happen with Satoru? I repeated my question from before. No, it's nothing. Nothing happened here at all. Come on, let's go back. If we stay here long, we'll catch colds. Itsumi pushed her back and urged me to return to my room. Itsumi and I walked shoulder to shoulder. During the time we didn't speak, for some reason an awkward atmosphere was flowing between us, as I thought something did happen after all, but I couldn't ask what it was. Somehow I felt that it was a very private matter. That's why I tried to change the subject. What is it? Are you married, Itsumi-san? After an almost lonely expression crossed her face. I was. However, my husband, is gone now. If it's not too much of an inconvenience. If it's not too much of an inconvenience, can I ask what kind of husband he was? He was an extremely kind person, but a strong one too. He was a mountaineer, but he himself was a man as broad and deep as the mountain. Mountaineer, huh? As I thought, Itsumi and Yamagi were married. If you really are Fuyukawa Cocoro, you may have met him already, because Saiji died in that airplane accident. I have met him. I'm still talking with him even now. I felt I could tell her that. However, that would have only brought her sadness. I tried asking something else. Did you love your husband? No. What? Itsumi slowly shook her head. It could be wrong to say that I loved him. I still love him now. Oh, okay, that's what she meant. She said it so plainly, but her face once again broke into a small, warm smile. I'm sorry, talking about such a dark subject. No, I'm the one that was meddling, I'm sorry. Itsumi wrapped her arms around my head and hugged me, as if embracing her own child, a strong and gentle embrace. Itsumi's scent was soft and sweet, making me feel a little dizzy. After letting go of my body, Itsumi's tone became cheerful, as if her mood had improved. That's right, you should have let some fresh air circulate into your room. It may be cold, but it would be bad if you didn't ventilate once in a while. Even if the air purifier is functioning correctly, you need new air as well. I understand, I'll do that when I return. Yes. I wouldn't do that. I feel like that's just an excuse to open your window. You were in front of the entrance before I knew it. Well then. So saying, Itsumi's figure disappeared ahead into the building. At that moment, I finally noticed that for some reason Itsumi was barefoot. Frostbitten by the cold snow, her ankles swelling and had turned deep red. Something was happening somewhere that I didn't know about. I just had the feeling. I returned to my room and ventilated it just as Itsumi had said. I threw open the window, cold air rushes into my room. Unintentionally, I begin to shudder. I confirmed the time, 4:06. About 10 minutes had passed from the time the transfer took place till I reached the room, so the current transfer occurred at 3:56. Sitting on the bed, I heaved a deep sigh. Do coincidences like that really happen? What about the note? A man with whom I flew on the same plane with, whom I experienced the accident, Yomogi Saiji. The woman who I met while experiencing mysterious phenomenon with the personality exchange at Samikali. Amazingly, the two were married. Was this simply a coincidence? I don't think this was something that could be explained away by chance, but rather due to a larger force at work. It felt like something was going to happen as if someone were plotting everything. But who was that someone? Was it God? Incidentally, I've heard of something like this before. A primordial age. When there was no life on Earth, there were only soups of amino acids in the ocean, which were the origins of life. Before long, those amino acids began to chain together and thus life was born. However, even if they try to recreate the conditions of the original ocean inside a test tube, it seems that as far as the creation of life is concerned, it never goes well. It's said that the creation of life by the union of drifting amino acids occurred by a coincidence of astronomical probability. The explanation of the scientist who introduced this left people with a strange impression of him. If we assume that God exists, then it may be that the one who gave birth to life by assembling those amino acids should be thought of God. The phenomenon that I'm experiencing right now may have a probability of occurring as low as the beginning of life itself. However, I can't think of this coincidence as being caused by anything other than someone's deliberate actions. Not only because of the coincidence of Yumargi and Utsumi being married, but because the coincidences keep on occurring one after another. The son from Yumargi's marriage, Junichi being killed, 2 years earlier by Inabushi Kaiko, and now Inabushi Kaiko was right here, in Sphere, living alongside Utsumi. For these coincidences to continue would just be sad. Too sad, I thought. Utsumi thinks that the girl is Suzukage Hitori, believing that she dedicated herself to taking care of her. But what would Utsumi think if she knew that she was Inabushi Kaiko, the target of her dead son's grudge? As if deflating my chest, I let out a deep breath. If God exists, and I'm being so cruel. And it's an innocently ignorant cruelty, like that of a child who catches insects to pull their legs off. Where am I, praying that Utsumi doesn't realize that Suzukage Hitori is really Inabushi Kaiko? When she does find out, I don't know what will happen, but there's no mistake that it'll be disastrous. By the way, here's what I think. I don't think there's any mistake that Suzukage Hitori is really Inabushi Kaiko. Hitori is one of the DID personalities that dwell within Kaiko. I think that's being proven by a testimony. She used the metaphor of a dark room, and there are occasions where other personalities it appears there's no way, two ways about it. It's just that in Inabushi Kaiko's case, except for the original personality in Hitori, I don't know the names of the other personalities. Because her current personality hasn't told me her name, it's difficult to guess. I can only deduce it from her behavior. Moreover, her DID personality changes aren't signaled by any action occur abruptly. It's the same as what Uni told me about the instant I returned from Yukidoh Satoru's body to Fuyukawa Cocoro's. There was no alteration whatsoever. To confirm a personality change from outward appearances alone is difficult. I don't think I've met any of the personalities except the one named Hitori. But in reality, there may have been a period when she was Kaiko, or that I've already met the personality of the murderer's monster that killed Junichi without realizing it. There's even a possibility that the personality of the murderer will go unnoticed until the moment it attacks someone. That was a lot of talking. I looked at my left arm that had been injured by someone and shuddered. It was at that instant. Satoru, do you have a moment? Uni's head popped out from behind the door. He was wearing an amiable smile. Hey Satoru, why did you open the window? It's cold. He quickly jumped to the window and shut it with great force. Rubbing his hands together, he shivered slightly. Is something wrong? Do you need something? About the radio. Did you find anything interesting? The smile on Yui's face was replaced with a troubled expression. A tone, are you Cocoro now? Yep. Well, whatever. Cocoro is really inside Satoru, it involves you anyway. What do you mean it involves me? Yeah. Uni moved next to me on the bed, sitting close enough for her shoulders to touch. He showed me the radio. I've been listening to the radio for a while now, but it's weird. How so? I was on an aeroplane that fell 4 days ago. There should be more news on it. Are they not broadcasting anything about it? Uni switched the radio on. He twisted the turning knob. The song started to flow from the radio. It was a popular singer's hit song from the Red and White Song Contest at the end of last year, 2010. I've been listening for over an hour. It's been nothing but stuff like this. I've already flipped through a couple of stations and they were more or less the same. I just randomly got a thought, but what if this is like an alternate world? And I say that because it's 2011 on the radio, and they ever mention the aeroplane. And if this uni was actually an alternate uni, or maybe just, I don't know what this uni is, honestly. I'm just going to even stop trying to figure out what he is because I can't figure it out. But what if this uni, Satoru, Itsumi, and Hitori were taken from their own respective timelines and put into this timeline? It would explain why Itsumi and Satoru think it's 2012 when it isn't, and in this timeline it's 2011, which would explain why the radio is talking about this 2011. Now that's just a guess, but it's probably going to be a lot more weird than that, honestly. That's just a guess. I've already flipped through a couple of stations and they were more or less the same. The plane crash is a huge incident, so there should be more broadcasts about it. That is weird. Right. An airplane accidental is a big deal. You'd think that they would broadcast more about it on the news. And of course 4 days have passed since the incident occurred. It's an event that's likely to be all over the news. But they shouldn't have found a single survivor yet. Obviously, because we're still in the shelter cabin. However, this news has yet to even touch upon it, so what does that mean? Annoyed, Uni shut off the radio. I bit my lip lightly. TV is no good either. Is there no news on the plane crash? There's a television in the living area. No, it doesn't show anything besides weird pictures. Like a flowing river or birds singing in the forest. Or stuff like a weird Buddhist priest saying stuff about being grateful. What's with that? It's not useful at all. Now that he mentions it, I feel like it was the same when I tried yesterday. Wondering what was going on, it suddenly dawned on me. This was Sphere, specified psychiatric hospital for isolation niggers. They probably don't show regular broadcasting in order to prevent mentally ill patients from becoming overstimulated. They show environmental broadcasting in order for them to not feel confined even when they're shut in by the snow or the winter. Would being preached to by a priest do an unruly patient any good? Uni impatiently stared at the radio. Even though I want to know what happened to Cocoro. The Cocoro that he mentioned didn't refer to me. He was probably worried about the well-being of the Fuyukawa Cocoro trapped in the shelter cab. I tried asking Uni once again. You remember the plane crash, right, Uni? Yeah, even if I want to forget. When did the accident happen? What year? What month? What day? Wearing a slightly unpleasant expression, Uni answered my question. Year 2011, January the 11th. You're supposed to be Cocoro, right? Don't ask such obvious things. He stood up angrily. I don't know if it's an illness or whatever, but I'm really worried about Cocoro. Don't try to confuse me. Spitting out these words like a piece of gum that had lost its flavor, Uni turned on its heels and walked away. Uni! He left the room, not responding to my call. Uni! He was really worried about me. That much was certain. The Uni that was just here was, without a doubt, the same one that rode beside me on the airplane. And the same one that was beside me when it crashed. I didn't forget either. I'm certain that I was grasping Uni's hand inside the airplane as it crashed. Even now I can still clearly remember the feeling of his small hand trembling in mine. The Uni from before and I both experienced a plane crash together on January 11, 2011. So what does this mean? Did the Uni from before, the Uni at Sphere, jump here right after the accident? If so, who was the Uni presently at the shelter cabin? After thinking it over for a while, I reached a single hypothesis. Uni's undergoing personality exchanges after all. On the second day, even though I talked about what food I liked at Sphere, the Uni at the shelter cabin already knew. From that I deduced that Uni was undergoing personality exchanges as well as or maybe teleportation. However, at that time I didn't know that the time periods between Sphere and the shelter cabin were different, so the deduction was abandoned. But, in regards to Uni, when considering the differences in time periods, I thought the complexly entangled thread had more or less begun to unwind. Putting aside the radio and the newspaper for now, you can guess the year from people's testimonies. At Sphere, the one who said, once you said it was the year 2011 were Hitori and Uni. However, it feels like I can discard those two testimonies. Hitori and Ibushikaiko's DID, so it's possible that she isn't aware of what year it is. After all, there's not even a child's personality dwelling inside her. It wouldn't be odd for a sense of what year it is to be off. And then there's Uni. From the conversation with him before, I can't think of any other explanation than him transferring here from the accident. And therefore his statement that this is the year 2011 is a given. The statement from Satoru and Tsumi that this year is 2012 is correct. If you exclude the radio that broadcast it being 2011, and the newspaper that had information about the future written on it, the world of Sphere it's 2011. I'm 12, and the world of Shelter Cabin is 2011. Is what it means. Satoru and I are under the assumption that our two personalities are jumping through time and space in our exchange. And on top of that, might Uni's personality be exchanging as well? Unlike us, the 2012 Uni and the Uni from right before the plane crash were being exchanged, switching back and forth into the same body of Kasada Uni. Huh? This just got a whole lot more confusing. I need to sort things out. Let's try to trace Uni's movements. First off, Uni was caught up in an airplane crash January 11, 2011. However, I don't know when, but he was saved somewhere. What was the cause and effect that brought the rescued Uni to Sphere? And passing through into the year 2012. And this is where it gets complicated, but the future Uni at Sphere 2012 and the past Uni that survived the plane crash 2011 are switching between one another. Right now, the Uni here at Sphere in the year 2012 is the Uni immediately following the plane crash. And the Uni in the shelter cabin right now could be otherwise referred to as future Uni. But wait a second. Our personalities here have exchanged a number of times already. Why is Uni only transferred once? No, I don't know yet if it was only once. However, it didn't appear that the personality exchange happened very frequently. I still don't have a very good grasp on the rules of the personality exchange. What an irritating feeling. This is probably what they call the feeling of chewing on sand. However, even though I don't know the rules of the personality exchange, there's only one thing I don't know. Thinking that it's the year 12 at Sphere and 11 at the shelter cabin would be best. The contradiction with the newspaper and radio has yet to be settled, but I should make sure to keep in mind that Sphere is in the 12 and the shelter cabin is in the 11. So with that decided, what should I do now? I should ask Uni first. I decided to ask whether he was the future Uni that had transferred there when I got back to the shelter cabin. And too late. Beginning of ego collapse. The next day I was standing on a snowfield. The snow reflected the setting sun and dazzling my eyes. My shoulders heaved as I drew breath as though I'd been exercising strenuously. My exhalations hung in the air, white clouds that almost looked as though I could reach out and grab them. What happened? Satoru, what did you do? Uni screamed out, sounding frightened. He was running as if to flee the shelter cabin, headed for the grove of trees. What? Uni screamed out, sounding frightened. Oh. Uni! Surprised at seeing him in the unusual state, I started to run after him. What happened, Uni? Uni, wait! It was hard to run in that snow. My feet sank another 30 centimeters into the snow with every step, and gradually I began to feel my strength depleting. Wait! Following in the footprints he'd left, I pressed on. Having reached the grove of trees, Uni slipped in the snow and fell. He smacked his head on a tree root that had been hidden on the snow. Uni, are you alright? I caught up with Uni. I helped Uni, his body half covered in snow, stand up. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts! He rubbed his forehead. It seemed that he'd hit it when he fell down. Let me have a look at that. Uni had gotten back to his feet, but his hair was sticking out every inch of the out every which way. I gently brushed away the snow clinging to him. There's no injury to his forehead. You wouldn't see it unless you looked closely, but there was an old scar he hadn't got in there just now. Had he? It's okay, you're not bleeding. But it hurts. Uni's eyes were filling with tears as he tries to withstand the pain. Really, you're a boy, aren't you? Come on, don't cry. But... Come on, there's no helping it. I gave Uni a little kiss on the forehead. Pain, pain, fly away to Andromeda. What was that? Uni smiled shyly. Oh, that's actually... He's Harry Potter. I knew it! He's Harry Potter! His cheeks were turning red, and I don't think it was just because of the setting sun. Don't say such an embarrassing thing. But hasn't the pain gone away? Yeah. He mumbled it, but I could still hear him softly say that. Thanks, Cocoro. Smiling, I nodded and pulled him back to his feet. Or is it to Andromeda? Huh? Because it's more romantic that way. I brushed the snow from his clothes. As though to confirm something, Uni asked me a question. You're Cocoro now, right? That's right. After hearing that, a somewhat imprudent expression of relief came to Uni's face. By the way, why were you running away? What happened? Because. He hesitated. I don't know what was so hard for him to say, but it was most likely something that happened in the shelter cabin. Just then I heard a scream from the cabin. Hey, what the heck are you doing, Maizumi? Oi, knock it off. Ugh! When I heard that scream, I want to do both of them! No! Yagami might be dying! Ask Uni. Let's go back to the cabin, Cocoro. Uni, now, why did you just come running out of here? Why don't you tell me the reason? That's because Tobin was picking on me. Picking on you? Just grabbing her like that, she's the worst. I see, and then you ran away, huh? Poor thing. When we were together, I'd do whatever I could to protect him, but when we were in Sphere, there was no way I could interfere. It was irritating. I gently patted his head. Uni smiled bravely and pointed towards the shelter cabin. Anyway, Cocoro, let's go back to the cabin. Yeah. Following in the trail of footprints we left, we headed back towards the cabin. Are you guys alive? When I saw when we returned to the shelter cabin, took my breath away. Dreadful scene had unfolded there. Something dark red was smeared around the edges of Meizumi's mouth, and beside her, Yagami had fallen to the floor. The stains around Meizumi's mouth were blood? No, she couldn't have. To Yagami-san? No, it's Yamagi, but I keep on saying Yagami. I guess it's because I gave him like a sort of slow Togami voice. It sounds a little like Togami's voice that I do for him in Danganronpa, but not much, at least. To answer my question, Meizumi licked around the edges of her mouth. With maddened eyes, she looked at me, looked to me like those of a wounded beast. Such a thing, no. People who are stranded after an accident and run out of provisions, they fall into a horrible state like this. That terrifying thought had become lodged in my mind. Before such a scene of shattered humanity, human dignity, my lips began to tremble. But I'm fine. Yamagi... Oh, okay, good. Yamagi slowly picked himself up from the floor. In my relief, my legs lost their strength and I dropped to the floor on my knees. Oh, thank goodness. What goodness? What happened? The woman, she ate all the chocolate herself. Oh my god. Took my eyes off her for 1 minute, she stole it right out of my bag. When I confronted her about it, she pushed me down like this. Shit. Yamagi stood and dusted off her knees, scowling at Meizumi. Uni drew closer to Meizumi. I don't know how you could do such a thing. That's everyone's food, isn't it? I was just thinking, if only you all weren't here, you wouldn't need it. Those dark red stains around her mouth, they were chocolate. She wiped them off with her finger and then licked it clean. That's not how it is at all. Were you just putting on an act to try and sabotage us all? Sabotage? Well, if you'll cooperate, none of us will survive, you know. Why would you do such a selfish thing? Meizumi turned towards me with an innocent smile, as though she was trying to start a fight. Why don't you know perfectly well why? It's simple arithmetic. With only this one last chocolate bar, we won't survive even if we divide it up equally. But if I eat it myself, I can go on living, just me. So I ate it. We decided together, right? We're letting your Magi-san manage the provisions. You have this much confidence in that old fart? I know it. When the goings get tough, then this old geezer will abandon us all of. What the hell do you think you're saying? I saw it myself when the plane crashed. You, before you found me, you also found another person who was still breathing, didn't you? But you abandoned them even though... what? You abandoned them even though they were still alive. You didn't even try helping them. Isn't that right? Yumiko took a long, deep breath and then he finally spoke. His voice was filled with pain. His face darkened by 4 days worth of stubble distorted in anguish. That's right, but there was shrapnel from the plane sticking out of that person's chest. I didn't think there was anything I could do for them. Look, just look at this. Meizumi thrust her finger at Yomogi as though in triumph. This bastard didn't think there was anything he could do for that person, so he simply threw them away. Don't you think it's idiotic to let a bastard like him be in charge of the food? We're all weaker than he is. He'll get rid of all of us as soon as we get the chance. He gets the chance. I could feel my own voice turning, shaking with rage. My nails dug painfully into the palms of my hands, but I dug them in even harder as I yelled out. Yomogi-san even saved you, didn't he? Even when he saved you, how can you say such terrible things? I thought you'd say that. Just because he saved me, I have to listen to everything he says? I'm not just screwing around here. Certainly Yamagi-san did rescue me, but that's all. He has no right to order me around with the me that's here today. Have you no gratitude at all towards him? Of course I'm grateful. If we make it out of here alive, I'll even let him do it. I'll even let him do it with me once. But in order for that to happen, I have to get back home alive first, you know? Don't fuck with me. In my anger, I lost control and struck out at Maizumi. Ooh! Yeah! Staggering Maizumi crashed into the wall. What the hell do you think you're doing? Maizumi got back on her feet and grabbed me. Sharp pain raced through my body, but she pulled my hair. You know I hate naive little princesses like you more than anything in the world. Never knowing hardship, growing up leading such carefree lives. Why don't you just die? If you did, that'd be one less mouth we'd have to feed. In retaliation, I grabbed Maizumi by the collar. Trembling, shaking her back and forth, I answered her. As long as we're still on the subject, you should just disappear. Life would be so much easier if you weren't here. If only you weren't here. Cut it out! Yamagi forced his way between us. Uni, too, was clinging to my back, murmuring in a barely audible voice. Stop it, Cocoro! But I... My eyes became blurry with tears of frustration and sorrow. Burying my face in Yamagi's chest, I wailed loudly. The things Maizumi had said was unforgivable, and I couldn't believe what I'd blurted out. That I would be better if she weren't here. I didn't even get a choice there, so that was all her fault. Tears came streaming down my cheeks. Looking at me in that state, Maizumi spat those words at me. You're so naive. Do you think somebody's coming to save you if you cry? People like you are always the first to die. Maizumi continued while sneering at me. In the first place, thinking that when things are rough, you have to work together is just an illusion. You know, in this world, you get by trampling over other people. It's survival of the fittest. That's right, it's just as you say. I was a complete idiot for risking my life to save you. So what are you gonna do? Will you kill me now? No, I may be an idiot, but until my final moments, I plan on to stay human. So I won't deceive myself with such a farce. Fun! Maizumi snorted through her nose and leaned against the wall. Wait a minute. I stopped crying and Yamagi helped me sit on the bed. And he sat down in the bed too, along with Uni. We'd already used the table and chairs for firewood, so there was nothing else in the room to sit on. Saying that someone should be the sole food manager, why don't we give up on that? Maizumi, who had sat down facing away from us, now sneaked a sidelong glance at Yamagi. Let's divide the remaining food into 4 equal parts and take care of our own share individually. Yamagi produced a hardtack biscuit from his bag. Only 2 cans of emergency rations were left, and those comprised of our entire food supply. Yamagi opened one of those cans. With a psht sound, the contents of the can were exposed to the air. The sound was as though a starter's pistol had been fired to signal our unstopping march towards the edge of the cliff. Maizumi, divide your portion into 4 shares. Me? Yeah, you divide it into 4 and we'll choose what we want from it. We can have whichever one is left. Even though it's so unfair to me, you're saying I have to stick it out and divide my share up? Yeah, that's right, because you're always the first to complain about it. He brought out the now empty can that had held the biscuits. Carefully, as though carrying out a mock scientific experiment, Maizumi divided the biscuits into 4 shares. Yamagi, Uni, and I each chose from the 3 of them. Maizumi picked the last one. Then holding it to her chest, she gritted her teeth at us and glared. This one's mine, so don't go trying to steal it, okay? That's big talk coming from a thief like you. Shut the hell up, Brad. Human beings will do anything they can in order to survive, you know. Huh. Sighing deeply, Yamagi said, There's those rations today. If we really economize, they might hold out until tomorrow. From then on, we'll be out of food. Each of us should choose to eat with that in mind. That small empty can with only half a biscuit placed in it made me feel very uncertain. Can I live on only this? An uneasy feeling spread through my chest like a lethal poison. There's not really much left, is there? Sounding worried himself, Uni peered into the can. I just knew that nobody would want to share. You start feeling uneasy as the food supply runs out, right? That anxiety becomes a burden. Anxiety is the killer of hope. And with despair comes fear. And despair comes bears! Boop, boop, boop. And fear will bring you to ruin. Muttering this regretfully, Yomugi gently stroked Yuni's hair. Don't worry. I know you're already worried, but try not to dwell on it. Seiji. I love this. I think this is like a fan translation, so it explains why there's so much of those curly lines whenever they keep on dragging on a syllable and stuff. But I love how they keep on adding extra letters when the character's saying that a lot. It's like Seiji. Seiji. Her face had been expressionless, but I suddenly saw Meizumi's eyebrows shut up. Idiotic. With her precious can under her arm, Meizumi turned back towards the bed. As she wrapped herself up in the blanket, her body began trembling. Biting her nails, she began muttering complaint. Her words, so faint that they could barely reach my ears, were, I'm gonna live. I can't die until I meet that person. I can't die. There's no way I'm gonna die. I will live. I'll live through this. A strong attachment to life. Hearing that muttering that fell from her lips like a curse, I turned and ran to the basement storeroom. Choosing life. The basement storeroom was deathly quiet. When I first came to look around here, it seemed that there were stores of food and fuel in abundance, but now not a trace of anything remains. Until now, my main concerns were the personality exchanges and attacks at Sphere, but I realized that the situation in the shelter cabin had grown just as urgent. Death was drawing closer. You're so naive. People like you are always the first to die. Her words repeated themselves in my mind. The hand holding the can that contained what was left of my rations was shaking hard. The few remaining biscuits danced inside the can with a clatter. My stomach was so empty it hurt. I hadn't eaten anything since last night. I'm so hungry. My trembling fingers picked up a biscuit and threw it into the mouth. I chewed slowly and then swallowed it with great care. I felt a sharp pain in my stomach as if it was yelling at me that this wasn't nearly enough. At this rate, if help doesn't come, am I going to die? Am I going to die? Tears started to obscure my vision. I was scared. Very. The faces of my friends and my parents back home appeared in my mind. The peaceful campus life I had enjoyed not long ago had disappeared from my mind. I don't want to die. Tears began to fall. The hot liquid flowed down my cheek and dripped to the floor of the shelter cabin storeroom, marking it where they fell. At that instant, a voice came from behind me. Cocoro! Frantically wiping away my tears, I tried to plaster on a smile before turning around, but I didn't do a very good job. It just looked like I was smiling through my tears. You're making a weird face. I'm sorry. I'm the older one here, so I shouldn't be crying. No, you can cry even more. Did you know the tears that always flow out of your eyes don't dry out and the tears that come out when you're troubled are different? The composition of the tears is different, like the calcium levels. For example, they differ a lot. If you scream, whoa, and cry when you're sad, you'll feel much better, right? When you're crying, your body's calcium balance is readjusted, so you will just feel refreshed. When you want to cry, you should cry. I was struck dumb by Yuni's explanation. Is that true? Yeah, it's true. That's why you should jump into my chest and cry as much as you want. Don't hold back. Come on. Bring it on, baby. Actually, no, I'll jump into your chest. That's much better. Oh, yeah. Yuni sticks out his thin chest and spread his arms. Jeez, I completely lost the will to cry. Were his explanations and actions orders to distract me from crying? Or did he do it unintentionally? Yuni's cheeks puffed up in an expression befitting his age. What's with that? What's with that? Boring. Yuni put on a displeased face. Pfft. Oh, it's so mean to laugh. Sorry. Yuni approached me as I apologized, and then he took my ration can from me. What are you doing? Don't worry about it. He then poured the food from his own can into mine. Hey, let's both share from this can. Why? When Cocoro gets hungry, it's alright for you to eat a lot. And when I get hungry, I can take a lot too. Yuni passed the can over for me. It felt heavier than before, when it only contained my share. Together, we can both have this much. If you think of it that way, then it's like we're still okay, right? Yuni. Right now, it's really insecure and disheartening. But we're not alone. We're not alone. With those words alone, we'll forget our hunger. Silently put the can on the food on the shelf. And then I took off Uni's glasses. You wouldn't. Uni! I hugged Uni's thin body to me. Tightly, tightly. It hurts! Thank goodness you're here with me. Thank goodness I'm not alone. No matter what happens, I'll protect Uni for sure. I shouted it out as I hugged him close. That's my line. Uni continued talking in a strangely adult tone. Cause I'll save Cocoro for sure. Thank you. Jeez, you're such a boy. I hug him even tighter. I'm gonna die! Warming inside, I happily felt Uni's gentle warmth. Like a beast running away from a flame, his warmth made my fear of death disappear. And then Yomogi joined us. Group hug. Can I join in too? Yeah, sure, why not? Uni jumped backwards. I like Seiji, but not in the habit of hugging bearded old guys. Ooh, stingy. If I could, I'd rather get a hug from Fuyukawa-san, though. Hey! It was just a joke. Laughing, Yomogi held up his can of rations for us to see. I heard your conversation just now. Can I put mine in too? Let's share 3 people's worth of food between us. Okay, sure. Okay, sure. Great. If we keep on splitting it equally, I won't be able to give either of you 2 my food. Why? I can't just give it to you 2 and not give Meizuni any, right? Unlike her, you guys are behind 1 piece of chocolate. I thought I should give you some of my portion before you start weakening. Yomogi placed his own rations in my can. The biscuits were piled up inside the can. It felt like it would overflow. When I lifted it up, it felt heavy. It was quite a weighty feeling. Yomogi rubbing his chin while staring at the heap of food inside the can. We have this much. It feels like we can live off it for an entire month. I don't want to stay here for that long. What we couldn't fit inside, we divided among ourselves and had for tonight's dinner. The meal the 3 of us ate while standing there was delicious beyond imagination. It was only a handful of dry biscuits, but I was very satisfied. My heart, rather than my stomach, was appeased. Yep. These rations. Yomogi handed me the can. You hold on to them for safekeeping. Me? Sure. I don't think I could carry out such an important mission. I pushed back the can at Yomogi-san. Please safeguard it instead. Wait, what? Didn't I pick the safeguard one? No, it seems Meizumi's already suspicious of me. If another woman like you holds on to it, there might be less animosity. Serious point, Meizumi seemed to be very defiant of men in general. It might be more secure if I safeguard it. Are you okay with that, Uni? Is it obvious? I have no complaints. In that case, I'll keep a careful eye on this. When it's time to eat, Yomogi-san should be the one to divide it. Understood. With that said, Yomogi took a venial bag out of the emergency kit inside the storeroom. He then wrapped the can up and sealed the bag. This was to prevent it from getting damp or spilling, just in case. I accepted it and stored it away inside my clothes. I held it carefully against my stomach as if warming an egg. Seeing my appearance, a fatherly smile rose to Yomogi's face. We're going to survive. He climbed back upstairs. Yomogi-san's such a good person, so why doesn't Meizumi believe in him? Tobulin's mind is twisted like a screw. Jeez, if I'd known Lim was that kind of person, I should have told Seiji before we even reached the cabin. Throw that jerk away. Uni muttered his complaints in a small voice. You shouldn't say things like that. As Uni rebuked her, I suddenly became curious. You didn't know Meizumi-san until you met her after the accident, didn't you, Uni? Of course not, what are you saying? Uni looked at me in confusion. I think of the shelter cabins Uni as the future Uni. If he'd already experienced the accident at the shelter cabin once before, Uni should already know Meizumi. However, he said he didn't know her. Doesn't seem like what the child is saying is a lie. Was this Uni not the future Uni? I tried my best to ask. Have you ever been to a place called Sphere, Uni? Uni replied, tilting his head. What's Sophia? Game center? No, if you've never been there, then never mind. I slapped Uni's shoulder and put one of my hands on the ladder. Alright then, I'm going up. If we stay down here for too long, they might get suspicious. You might say, maybe they're doing something dirty. I fixed uni with the most erotic, or at least I thought I was looking. I didn't think it was very mature of me, but I thought I'd get a revenge. Before, when he said something similar, I was really embarrassed. However, Uni just shook his head. That's not sexy at all. It's worth about 2 points. Out of 5? Oh my god. Out of 100. Well, how mean? I hurried up the ladder with jokingly pretending to cry. In actuality, my innermost feelings were hurt a little, but that was a little secret. I returned to my bed and took out the food I had stored in my stomach. I hid the food under my pillow so that it wouldn't be found. We didn't get to listen to the voice recording or anything.